In today's video, we bring you a basic introduction to a complex subject, the celebration of Semana Santa, Holy Week in Spain. It is a complex subject because, as you will discover, Holy Week is celebrated in very different ways from north to south and from east to west. And the meaning it has for Spaniards is very different from one person to another. Our purpose here is to present a basic guide intended primarily to help foreigners unfamiliar with the celebration of Holy Week in Spain, sharing some key points to understanding what this period is like. We will emphasize the importance of Holy Week in Spain. We will talk about the dates of the Holy Week, the processions, the brotherhoods and the Nazarenos, the costumes and the music. We will try to present the most important Holy Weeks in Spain, and we will share some tips to enjoy Holy Week to the fullest. Hola, ¿qué tal? Hello. Welcome to the channel where we want you to be happier traveling around the Iberian Peninsula with the help of our videos and also of our self-guided walking tours. It does not seem to us adventurous to affirm that in Spain as a whole, Holy Week is the most important celebration of the year. Of course, that for someone from Cádiz, the Carnival, or for someone from Pamplona, the Sanfermines are more important dates than the Holy Week. But in general, Spain during Holy Week is an explosion of unparalleled emotions that go far beyond religious feelings. An event that attracts locals and national and international visitors. It is a period of great tourist activity in the country. It is a season of high prices and high occupancy in many Spanish cities. If the rest of the year Spanish cities are already crowded with tourists, during Easter there are some destinations that take overcrowding to the next level. And those who do not plan to follow the Easter celebrations take the opportunity to travel during the bank holiday. Holy Week is the period between Palm Sunday and Easter Sunday. The most important celebrations we are going to talk about take place during these 7 days. It is a holy week for Christians who commemorate the last days of Christ, from his triumphal entry in Jerusalem to his crucifixion and resurrection. Holy Week is not a fixed date and changes from year to year. It may fall in March or April. You will need to consult the calendar to find out when the next Easter is. Good Friday is the only date of the Holy Week that it is a holiday throughout Spain. In many autonomous communities in the regions, Maundy Thursday is also a public holiday. In a smaller number, the second bank holiday is Easter Monday. The processions, procesiones in Spanish, are the main public manifestation of Holy Week in Spain. Thousands and thousands of the faithful walk the streets of the cities following the pasos. In Malaga there are also tronos, pasos which are floats created specifically to participate in the processions. They usually have skirts covering the sides and usually carry on top large wooden sculptures depicting Christ, the Virgin, or episodes of the Passion. Each brotherhood, and we will talk about them later, organizes its own procession. The usual thing is that the procession leaves from a church and after going through the streets of the town, returns to that same church. But there are also processions that may start at one point and end at another point in the city. There are processions in the outlying neighborhoods, but the most visually impressive ones take place in the historic centers of the cities. Processions last several hours. They can take place during the day or at night. The night processions are especially interesting. Each brotherhood organizes several processions on different days of Holy Week. And every day of Holy Week, you can witness processions from different brotherhoods. The weather is a very important factor during the week. In case of rain, the processions can be cancelled. Processions are organized by religious organizations known as cofradías or hermandades. The use of one or the other term depends very much on the city. Some brotherhoods have their origins in the Middle Ages and maintain very characteristic rituals during their processions. There are brotherhoods that in their name pay devotion to Christ, such as the University Brotherhood of Christ of the Light in Valladolid, to a virgin, such as the Brotherhood of the Hope of Triana in Seville. Others represent a moment of the Passion, such as the Brotherhood of the Descent from the Cross and Tears of Our Lady here in Zaragoza. The faithful of the brotherhoods participate in the processions. They can be known as Nazarenos in some cities, as Penitentes in others, or as Cofrades. Again, this depends very much on the city. Within each brotherhood there are different functions for its members, carrying objects that are part of the cult or that remember deceased cofrades, playing the musical instruments that accompany the processions, or pushing the pasos, the floats. The processions are closed by the manolas, penitent women dressed in black, always wearing a mantilla and a peineta, typical Spanish garments. In some cities in Spain, it is traditional for other people to go along the processions. They can be characters from the Bible, or in places like Girona in Catalonia, Roman soldiers known as manalles. Their parade down the steps of the city's cathedral is one of the most impressive moments of Girona's Holy Week. The pasos, the floats we mentioned before, are one of the most precious treasures of the brotherhoods. They can be small and simple pasos, carried by a few penitents, or larger and richly decorated pasos with the participation of many penitents. The high artistic value of the pasos is one of the reasons why rain forces the cancellation of processions during Holy Week. There are other celebrations related to Holy Week. Some cities or even towns are famous for their representations of the Passion, for the Passion dramas, with live actors. And in cities like Lorca, the processions are very different from the ones described here. In the region of the Bajo Aragon, it's all about drums. As we said at the beginning of the video, the diversity of celebrations in Spain is infinite. Participants in the processions wear penitential robes with cloaks over them. Some, but not all, wear capirotes on their heads to hide their faces. Capirotes are hoods with conical tips. The hoods symbolize penitence and anonymity before God. The similarity of some of the clothing to that worn by the Ku Klux Klan in the United States leads some foreign visitors to react with horror. But it is important to clarify that Holy Week dress in Spain long predates the existence of the Ku Klux Klan. Whether the racist American organization copied the style of the Spanish penitents, we do not know, but the clothing worn during Holy Week in Spain has nothing to do with the Ku Klux Klan. In the same way that one travels to Asia and does not look with horror at the presence of swastikas in the temples of countries like China, India or Japan, neither should one do so when witnessing processions in Spain. Each brotherhood has its own dress code, usually identified by a color. The uniforms can be very different from one to another. As we have already mentioned, not all of them wear capirotes, pointed hoods. Processions can be completely silent. In some areas of Spain, especially but not exclusively in Andalusia, processions may be accompanied by saetas, a popular song that reflects grief, emotion, and religious fervor. In many processions throughout Spain, the brotherhoods, bands of musicians, play solemn music to accompany the procession, helping to create an atmosphere of emotion around the parade. Here in Aragon, in the region of Aragon, there is a very important element that differentiates the local Holy Week from that of other parts of the country. The importance of percussion instruments, which are the soundtrack of Holy Week in Zaragoza and other parts of the region. Once again, we are highlighting the diversity in the celebration of the Holy Week in Spain. What a thankless task to highlight the most important Holy Weeks in Spain. In the search for an objective criterion to filter among so many important Holy Weeks, we have decided to put on the map those that the Spanish government considers of international tourist interest. There are many and you will see them on the map. And these are only those labeled as of international tourist interest. In the list of Holy Weeks of national tourist interest, there are yet another 30 different celebrations. Wherever you go, there is sure to be an Easter celebration worth visiting. It is interesting to note that neither Madrid nor Barcelona, the two largest cities in Spain, have a great tradition of celebrating Holy Week. Sure, there are processions, but they are small and the atmosphere of the cities cannot be compared to those just mentioned. Let's take a look at some tips for planning Easter week. The first thing you should know is that the Holy Week processions are a cultural and religious event that attracts large crowds, especially in the cities where Semana Santa is best known, such as Seville or Malaga. Consequently, attending Semana Santa costs more than a normal trip because you are going to a destination in high season. To get your money's worth, it is essential to plan ahead. First, you have to choose the city or cities where you are going to spend Easter. Then you need to do some research on the Easter celebrations in those destinations to find out when the most interesting processions are. With this information, you should book your accommodation and transportation as early as possible. Holy Week is lived in the streets. Find out the time and itinerary of the processions and join the crowds waiting for them. Watching the processions in the street is free. Depending on the city, you will need to be in good physical shape to be able to stand for long periods of time before the procession begins. We're talking about hours. Thousands of people want to see the processions and many arrive early to get the best place. This is especially true in cities like Malaga and Seville. Here in Zaragoza, we have the privilege of being able to see the processions without having to wait long, with a few exceptions. If you are looking for a very interesting Semana Santa off the beaten track that won't leave you exhausted, take note of Zaragoza. Another piece of advice: when you arrive in the city, go to the tourist office to ask for information about the processions. Here in our city, for example, you can take a guide where you will see all the processions classified by days and times, with map included. Take the opportunity to also ask which procession is most worth seeing. Here in Zaragoza, the night of Monday, Thursday in the historic center is simply incredible. And with all this information, go out to the street ready to witness a celebration that can be very emotional even for non-believers. Because it is very important to understand that you don't have to be a Christian, not even a believer, to be fascinated by the celebration of Holy Week in Spain. As we have just pointed out, witnessing a procession can be an incredibly moving experience, regardless of your beliefs. There are many non-believing Spaniards who participate in the celebrations. A comment about the weather. March and April is a traditionally rainy season. En abril lluvias mil, goes the saying. In April, 1,000 rains. Although climate change has wreaked havoc with all the traditional weather patterns, be prepared for the rain. We recommend that you watch the video in which we explain how to research the weather in the area of Spain you are about to visit. A final tip, make your Easter sweater with the most traditional dessert for the period, the torrija. It's the Spanish version of the French toast, made by soaking stale bread in milk, then dipping it in egg and fried with olive oil. It is often sprinkled with cinnamon. Along with Easter eggs, most of the country's confectionaries offer this delicacy in their shop windows. If you are coming to Spain and want to make the most of its cities, take a look at our collection of self-guided walking tours, where we take you around the cities as if you were a local, with the help of detailed instructions, descriptions, and online maps. If you have any questions about Easter in Spain, take the opportunity to ask. And if you are planning to visit Spain, you will want to avoid a whole series of very common mistakes which we present in the video you are watching now on the screen. We are waiting for you in that video.